Welcome to Not Till Now, a podcast about courage. I'm your host, Brit Stueven. Season 1 features conversations with performers and collaborators from the debut live show on January 28th, a night where firsts took the stage. In these chats, we'll talk about fear, the creative process, and what happens after you say yes to something you've never done before. Here we go. Hey everyone, welcome back. I am so pumped to introduce you to today's guest, Mike Betts. You may know him as Monster Mike Betts, his old karaoke stage name, but on January 28th, at the debut of Not Till Now, Mike did stand up for the second time ever. This husband and dad is a cultural architect at Fidelity Investments and someone who is very involved in Denver's nonprofit community. Alongside his spouse, he helps lead the Michael and Cora Betts Legacy Foundation, which hosts an annual golf tournament that has raised nearly $500,000 for Judi's House, an organization that supports children and families navigating grief. So comedy, for Mike, isn't just about getting laughs. It's about connection. It's about the surprising places where humor, grief, and healing intersect. Oh, Mike, I'm really glad you're here.
Yes, I am excited to be here as well. I've never done a podcast before, and so
Woo!
that's Not Till Now, right? So that is exciting. Yeah, I'm very happy to be here.
Awesome. So we've got to talk about how you and I connected, because I had no idea that you even existed until my husband's old coworker, Claudia, commented on my Instagram post where I was asking for people to apply for Not Till Now. And she was like, hey, Mike, keep doing this stand-up thing. You should try for this. And it's just weird how that stuff happens. There's one small connection, one comment, and then suddenly two people are talking about getting on a stage together. So when I reached out and encouraged you to apply, what were your first thoughts?
So at that point, I was very excited because I had just done a very small little bit. I had taken a course, Stand Up 101. So I was just feeling good about that. And then I thought that was just so interesting because Claudia, she had just seen it and said, this is good. So I told my wife, I'm like, hey, I think I might have my first gig after this. And so I felt good that somebody had seen it and said, hey, you should check this out. And so I was like, I should do that. But I will be honest, I did not think it was going to be what it was. I did not think it was going to be at the Lakewood Cultural Center. There's me over 300 people. You sit there and you think like, okay, is this just a few people getting together and we're going to perform, in front of like 30, 40 people? This was a big, big show. And the further I got in, the more excited I got about it.
Yeah. And you totally knocked it out of the park. I mean, I remember I went back and I was looking at your Instagram profile and I saw your first set after your class. And I'm like, this guy's pretty good. And then I couldn't tell you yes immediately. I needed to wait for everyone to be, in the queue. And then in my message to you, I said something, and I said, if you're chosen.
Yeah.
And then you later told me that just lit a fire in you. And so what was it that made you just be like, okay, I got to get this?
Yeah, it was very funny. And I don't think I'm alone in this. There are always those things that you're like, I want to go do. And you're just like, it's just that the timing's not perfect. Whether it is selling your house or whatever it is, you sometimes are just reluctant to pull the trigger. So when you were like, if you get chosen, I'm like, what do you mean? If I get chosen? Do you know who you're talking to? Come on. So then I was like, furiously typing I was like, all right, what questions do they have on there? What do I got to do? I was very motivated, got something out that night. And I was like, if I get chosen. So sometimes you just need that little bit of push, like got to have that chip on your shoulder.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. So your set had people laughing immediately. And how could it not? You were shaking your butt to Neil Diamond. But this was your second time ever doing this. So how was the writing different and how was the creative process different this time? Because you weren't taking a class, you were just sending me
Right.
notes and I was giving you some feedback. How did that look?
So it was so different because yes, in the class each week you have your homework and you're kind of building it as you go and you're getting a chance to practice in front of your classmates, which by the way, that sometimes is even more nervous than actually doing the actual thing is practicing for a small group. Even when we were getting ready for ours, I was like, oh man, I'd rather get in front of the whole crowd than all these people that are like, oh, you should do this. So but for this one, I felt like things just kind of popped into place and I more or less had an idea that I knew I wanted to talk about because it was a lot of bucket list stuff for people, right? So these are things that they've wanted to do for a long time and they haven't been able to do them till now. So I wanted to get on that. And I think that I knew that that general idea would open it up to a lot of stuff. And it also was just in regular conversations, if I was talking about that or talking about this, I was just trying to pay attention more like, "That's actually kind of funny." And I did the right thing. If somebody's on a text string said something really funny, I'm like, "I could weave that in," and that kinda plays with that theme, and then I'm like, "D Would you mind if I use that?" And, of course, like, everyone's like, "Oh, no, that'd be so cool." People are like, "You Did
Yeah.
you use the joke?" And so, um it was really fun, and I also like the collaborative process. Even working with you, Brit, we did Google Docs, and then, I swear one time I was reading through a joke, and I'm like, "There's a note right here." I'm like, "I don't remember making that note. I must have had, like, a couple more beers than I thought the other night." And then I'm like, "Oh, wait, the note was really good." I'm like, "Wait, Brit did that." And so that was really, really fun, having a little bit of collaboration. And it was nice too because you don't always know if you're on track. And then you even saw a theme in there that I think made it come across even a little more polished.
Yeah. I mean, the collaborative process is so awesome. Just bringing something to the table, like someone will always see it with fresh eyes. But then I would give you these little snippets and I even had a whole idea of how you should start and end and you were like, "No, no, no, no."
Yeah.
You're like, I think I know how to do this." And I'm like, "Okay. Okay, cool." And but and your delivery is really, really good because when I first, was reading through some of your things, I'm like, "Huh? Like, what is this?" And to your defense, some of the things weren't in full sentences when they were just the very first notes that you sent. But
Yeah.
then when I saw you really, like, act them out, I'm like, "Oh my goodness, this is so good." But, I wanna talk for a second about the dad jokes and how some of this really originated, and because when we first got coffee, you mentioned that at your golf tournaments, when you get up and talk in front of everyone, you sling some jokes and people do laugh, and even though some people tell you that you're not funny, who is it, your brother? Or he's like, "You're not funny," but people are
It's
laughing.
it's my wife that says I'm not funny.
It's your
Um,
it's your
and what's actually funny is
yes.
I steal so much stuff from her. I think the other day I went to work and it was the first warm day in a while, and so I had like a kind of fun Hawaiian shirt. And she looked at me, she's like, "Oh, is it, Hawaiian Shirt Day for Spirit Week at your work?" And was super condescending, and I'm like, "Well, that is rude and kinda funny." And then because here's the thing, she won't get in front of a bunch of people, so I will usually tell her jokes for her, and that's why I know the delivery, and so at work that day, I said, "This is what my wife said, isn't that mean?" And then they'd laugh. I'd be like, "Oh, okay, so you're on her side. Thanks a lot." So, um
Okay. I like
yeah,
how this works.
yeah, but yes, and you wanna hear something very funny is when I was much, much younger, I had a buddy tell me, he's like, "Man, I had a dream, about you, and you were on, like, David Letterman, and you were, like, just saying your dumb jokes that you do over and over." And I was in the crowd, and I was just getting so mad because the audience was just rolling and laughing so hard, and I was like, "What?" So, I then was like that inkling got there. And, yeah, at my golf tournaments, I say some dumb dad jokes, And it's weird, but if you get people in the right frame of mind, you don't even have to be all that funny or clever. And people will just laugh and they want to laugh and it builds. And yes, I do know my brother's like, these are so dumb. Like, I cannot believe everybody's laughing.
Okay, so you had the inkling, but then you
Yeah.
started doing the golf tournaments. Was there a specific moment where you're like, I'm going to try stand up? Or has it just been a slow build?
It's mostly been a slow build, and maybe it was turning 50, but I was like, I think this would be something that I should try and do. Being in front of people doesn't bother me. Then I happened to catch a person, actually, that pastor at our church. She was on sabbatical, and I caught a Facebook thing that she's like, I went and did this class, and it was fun, and I made some people laugh, and it wasn't as scary. And I was like, that is it. I really should do this. And so, yeah, I ended up taking the class. And then this other thing, like then this Not Till Now, I mean, it's in some respects, it's changed how I'm approaching things. Like at work, I'm like, I think I want to try a different angle. And so I'm out trying to post for some jobs that are not just, oh, this is the path you're on, go here, go here, go here. I'm trying to branch out and do something maybe a little different and change it up. And I know we have not been able to connect because I'm in the middle of selling a house and it's a similar type story. For years and years, my wife and I will go to these model homes. We love these townhome style homes that have a rooftop patio. And so we were looking at one, we're like, we should do this. And it's a lot. Like if you've been in a house for 25 years to be like, all right, let's like this whole process is all crazy and a lot of work. But now we're pretty excited. So we're under contract and building towards a late May closing and moving. And I'm not going to go so far to say, and it because of Not Till Now, and let me dry the tears. But it did help to say, hey, you can step out and do something that's a little bit scary and a big change, and you can have some real rewards at the end of that. And I think mindset is a lot of that too. So
That is amazing. And it's really cool that your pastor,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
was
yep,
was on sabbatical and it was a
yeah,
comedy class?
yeah.
Okay.
And so I actually was super sneaky about it. I saw the stage that she was on and it said Rise Comedy. So I was like, okay, I bet that's that. So I just looked up their website. I'm like, they do have a class and it is on Sundays. And I'm like, you know what? This is something I wanted to do. So yes, I'm going to be a little sad that there's going to be parts of some Bronco games that I'm going to miss,
Yeah.
but like, I should just do that. Why wait? And so I ended up signing up for the class and then, um, your comment, well, if you get selected, like, yes, that helps spur me on. I do think I would have still gone for it anyway, because I was like, this is okay. Let's do this. Now my new goal is
Yeah.
maybe at my current job, maybe I'll have to sign up for an outside business activity and that I do a little part-time comedy on there. So
Ooh, there we go.
listen. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just really neat. So you watch someone else do something courageous and you're like, okay, that looks
Yeah.
cool. And then you did something courageous and then after that, other big things and big moves, literally and figuratively, became less scary. And that's been
Yeah.
a running theme in every conversation I've had so far on the podcast is that it just starts with one thing and then it slowly snowballs into these
Yeah.
really cool things. And so, speaking of things that lead to other things, I want to talk about your foundation work.
Right.
But before we do that, I just want to take a moment and honor something really important in your story and how you and your family experienced an unimaginable loss in 2008. And I don't want this to get super sad or hard, but it's
Right.
really important. And I want to let you say what happened, but I also, with that, I am really wanting to know more about your children.
It was January 27th, 2008. We were coming back from visiting family in Nebraska, and it was my wife and I, and we had our 4 kids in the car, and we ended up hitting a deer, but then there was a semi behind us that ended up hitting us. So the double impact, we lost 2 of our kids in there, Michael and Cora, and that's what the foundation is named after. Um, Unimaginable support that we got, whether it was through work, our church, our community, family, friends. We had a lot of support, and we'd even built up, some funds, like people donated, and we just were like, oh, we don't need this. And um, I don't know. It is a weird thing when that happens. And so what we wanted to do was like, let's turn this into something bigger, or let's do something that we can remember them. And we started a foundation. And I remember sitting in an attorney's office, and the attorney was like, "Oh, that's really great that you guys have these dreams and stuff like that. But listen, they're hard work. Take that money and just donate it, and then you don't have to worry about it." That made me a little bit like, wait, what's he saying? But then I wanted to say, fuck you. Like this, we can do
Yeah.
something more with this. And that theme that you brought up, that it just takes one person knowing one person. The first year we actually did pretty well. We had great numbers for our golf tournament. We actually did this, Michael, we called it Cora's Ball, because Michael did love to golf. So like we had a golf tournament, and we had this royal ball, and that was just this fantastic event. It was a black tie event, but that you bring your kids to. I think we've done 3 of those. Maybe there was a 4th. I mean, they're so much more work. They were a little bit harder. But it was so fun. I think we had it timed near Halloween. So little kids had all these costumes. So that was super fun and a great turnout. But it was meeting certain people. And so we were doing okay with the tournament. And then, this guy, Aiden Crotty, we got him involved, and it seems like he knows everyone. And so now, like, this golf tournament started to grow. And then I've got Lori Allington. She is amazing with all the organizational stuff. And now this made our golf tournament made over I think it was not quite 75,000 last year, but it just one tournament. And so we will eclipse 500,000 this year. And we've got like big sponsors, and it's one of the bigger ones. We have it at Fox Hollow. We get, 200 plus golfers, and it's one of the bigger golf tournaments on this side of town. And it's funny. And I'm not even trying to be humble, because I know that I put a lot of work into the vision, and I'm excited about that. But just that it's gotten as big as it has, and all the people that help out, whether it's family, friends, and that sort of thing. So it is pretty cool.
So how exactly did you come to find Judi's house?
This is one of those, you just never know when something's going to be in front of you where you have that opportunity. So we knew we wanted to do some events, but we wanted to figure out who are we going to raise money for? And I knew we wanted to do something, an organization that works with kids. And we looked at different grief things and stuff like that. And Judi's house was on the list. So Judi's house was founded by Brian Greasy and Brooke Greasy, his wife. I don't know if they were married at the time, but he lost his mom when he was 12. And he said
Okay.
he was a mess, and he made poor decisions. He thought he was alone, but it turns out lots of people lose a loved one when they're young. And I know, going through the grief journey, like, it helps that I have people at work and family and community and friends that can say, "Ooh, this is Cora's birthday. I bet this is a tough day. Oh, I remember January 27th is, do you need the day off? Like, how are you doing?" Do you think middle schoolers do that for other middle schoolers, or a 4th grader knows to say that to another 4th grader? So having a place where they can learn about that and talk with people who've also experienced it is pretty amazing. So we are still in the decision thing, and I am riding on the bus to my downtown work. I'm talking with a gentleman by the name of Turner Lang, and we were just talking about like, hey, we've narrowed down. We're looking at these people. And we get to the destination at 16th Street, and this person that's sitting in front of us on the bus says, hey, I didn't mean to eavesdrop. Which, by the way, you for sure did mean to eavesdrop. Don't even start with that. That is bullshit. You were listening in. But anyway, she said, hey, I just want you to know I am a volunteer for Judi's house. And that place is the best place. And it is so wonderful what they do for these kids. And I might even be start tearing up right now. I started to tear up a little then. And then when we got off, I'm like, I know when we meet later, we're going to have to discuss this, but I think I know who we're going with right now.
That's so amazing that person was just planted right there. That just gives me chills.
Yep. And eavesdropping, which they were.
Yeah. So did your family go to Judi's house?
We ended up going there, and my son, Patrick, at the time was just 1.5. And so he was a little bit too young. But our daughter, Aspen, she went through there, and they take you through, it's called their Pathfinders, and they take you through it. And the caregivers, they go through the same thing. And I mean, there were some very tearful nights, like where you were saying, hey, we want everyone to tell a memory about your special person. So they work with tons of families, and they know that what a 6-year-old needs is different than what a 16-year-old needs, or what a 22-year-old needs. So they do young adults now because their prefrontal cortex is not fully developed. People say mine is not either.
I don't know if anyone's is developed ever, to be honest, but
yeah.
So I want to know about Michael and Cora. Can you share some memories?
Yeah. So like Cora was our princess, so she was just 4 when she passed. And there's so many princess things and that sort of thing that makes me smile as I think about her. And I think my wife said this one time, like, I don't know that she ever really had a bad day. Obviously, she cried. She's a kid, like things happen, but like she was just always ready to smile. And like Michael was just such a great big brother. Even when he would be mean, like he would do big brother things. I remember Cora one time saying, Dad, Michael just farted in my face. And, he would do that. But he was just such a protective big brother. And he was a good teammate too. His baseball team went out, and this is funny. People think I'm associated with it, but they petitioned South Jeffco League to do a Little League baseball tournament that they ended up naming the Michael and Cora Betts Legacy Baseball Tournament. And their team went out. They had a very good team, and they won their bracket and stuff the first year. And it was a cool thing. The team invited my wife and I to go, and we did. We showed up. I don't know if we saw the first game, but we went to a game the first day, and one of the moms, Heidi McHugh, told us how she's like, oh my gosh, when you guys showed up, you saw everyone like all of a sudden they're like, uh-oh, let's go. And then they played so good in that tournament. I still remember my daughter, Aspen. Later, I was like, oh, that was probably the worst thing to say. They were playing this team that they would play periodically. And honestly, that other team, if anyone from Michael's old baseball team listens, you're going to get mad. But that other team would probably beat him 6 out of 10 times. They both were really good. But we were winning this game, and it was really close in the last inning. And she yells out, come on, guys, win it for Michael. And I was like, oh, God, don't put that pressure on him. But they did. They made those outs, and they won that first tournament. It was a story in the little local paper. And it was very funny because some of you, if you're a baseball fan, you might remember the name Troy Tulowitzki. Well, Troy Tulowitzki and Michael shared a birthday. So they both were October 10th. And so that became Michael's favorite player. He actually liked him before that, and then he found out it was his birthday. And that last year, Michael had turned into this player that was starting to be not just react well to the ball, but then be like, oh, there's a runner on first. I'm going to throw the ball to second base, and really thinking, which is one of Troy Tulowitzki's strong points. So that is in the article. And I'm telling you right now, whoever Troy's agent was, because he was like a second year player. So I don't know that he had a big footprint in the area. And then somebody was like, dude, this kid that their team went out and won. And so he donated a signed jersey and a signed World Series batting helmet for our
No
silent
way.
auction that first year. So that was cool. And
Oh.
later on, when he got traded, he came his first time back to Colorado to play against the Rockies. He stopped by Judi's house and gave them a big check, like $100,000
Whoa.
check. And I can tell you, his first introduction to Judi's house was probably through us. So kind of cool.
Oh my goodness. So much full circle stuff. I just appreciate you so much sharing this. And I know it's not easy, but it's it,
No, you made me
it's
cry a little
important.
bit.
And I know,
Yeah.
but it's just really special to get to know a little bit more about your family and these really cool
Yeah.
memories. And so now to deepen the conversation even more, let's talk about how you're moving out
Yeah.
of your house that you've lived in for 25 years. What kind of emotional roller coaster are you on right now?
Oh, man. It is. I mean, it's hard. And we try very hard not to be hoarders, but I don't know, man. Maybe it's the generational trauma of the Great Depression still, where you don't throw that away. You could use that later. There's so much shit. And we still have other stuff here and already packed up a whole pod. And then there's still stuff in the garage and there's still all the basic furniture. I'm like, oh my gosh, there is just a lot of stuff. And we get attached to our stuff. So that's number one. I will also tell you that if you've been in a place a long time, it's an older house. I think it's not 50 yet, but now there's just things that'll be a little bit off with it. It's not going to be model home. And then you get scared, like, are we going to be able to sell it? And we were at one point like, all the roadblocks, like, this is why we can't sell. We're not ready. We're not ready to do this. And then once we got through those arguments, we're like, let's do it. And so
Right.
we said, the only way we're going to do it is if we just say we're going to do it. And then we're forced to be like, holy shit, we got to clean this place. Holy crap. We're going to have to paint the whole thing. We're going to have to recarpet and we're going to have to do all these things. And the carpet's like, we'll wait for our dog to pass away, which she did in January. So,
Oh.
but it was almost the force to do it. Like, hey, if I know I got to get on stage at the end of January, I better have an act ready to go. And I can't be like, I'll wait till I have my act all ready and then I'll look to see if I can get on stage somewhere. That's not how it works, right? Sometimes you
Exactly.
got to be kicked into it.
Yeah, you got to start before you're ready. And
So
I
if
love
people, because you
how,
have another show coming up. And so I would
yeah,
just tell people that if you're like, oh, like, yes, sign yourself up, get yourself that far in. So you're like, oh shit, I
yep,
can't back out now. So
exactly. Yeah, just throw it in.
yeah.
But so I love how your house is echoing because there's nothing in it. And it makes me wonder about all these things that you've been packing up. And I'm curious if you've found anything just totally random or crazy where you're like, what? We were saving this? Or
Yeah, I mean, there's
just
been a few of
anything.
those. If you want a funny story about moving, our realtor, Jenny Thompson, you guys can always ask me. She's been great and she's great at staging and making the house look so great. And we wanted the dream. And the dream is this, right? You put your house up on the market and we have a couple offers already, right? That's the dream. And
Yeah,
then that usually doesn't happen. And in this case, it did not happen. And so after day one, we were a little bummed because there was one couple that had been like, we want in, can we come see it early? And you're like, you really can't see it early. And we were like, oh man, they're for sure putting an offer. They're already so excited. And so you're just like all right, where's the offer? Where's the offer? And those people were like, oh, the basement wasn't big enough for us. So we're very bummed. The next morning, I get out of the shower, and of course, we have showings. So it wasn't unusual. I could hear the vacuum going. And so then I come out, and my wife is vacuuming the ceiling. Like, yes, I get it. Like right above where right above where the ceiling fan was in our room. And I'm like, oh, that's what it was. People were like, oh, it's a little dusty above the ceiling fan. Otherwise, we'd really want the home. So I know that's not what it was, but I'm like, oh boy. So I made a mental note. I was being a good husband. So later on, I'm like, hey, how's it going? Are you feeling better? I'm like, I'm feeling a little worse than I did yesterday because I was hoping for an offer. How are you? And the text I got back was, I was vacuuming the ceiling at 7:30 a.m. How do you think I'm doing? Now, she did put the laughing with the tears coming out emoji. So it was fine, but just realized that might be a little extreme on there. And now that's our new acronym. If things are not going well, it's like, all right, I'm vacuuming the ceiling.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
That's so great. But okay, do you have an offer on the house?
we do. And we're super excited. I mean, we ended up getting 5 offers after our open house. So that was pretty exciting.
That's awesome. So, okay, I want to go back to the funny things that your wife says. And so this is going to take us back into your set. So you and I, we were wrestling with when to weave in the sad stuff.
Yeah.
And you did a great job with that. And at the end, you said, I told my wife, I want to make people laugh because I hate making people cry. And she said, I don't think that's it, or you would have changed your haircut a long time ago. Now, of course,
Yeah.
your delivery was incredible. And it was so perfect how you took this really intense moment and brought us up to laughter.
Yeah.
But now I got to bring you back to another deep
Yeah.
thing. And I just want to talk about, why don't you want people to cry? What makes you afraid of that?
I know some people know the Enneagram, and I am a 7 on there. I do not like making people feel uncomfortable. I don't like making people cry. Um, I think with a lot of my life experience, it ends up happening more than I think, where I will come home from like a meeting thing. I'm like, oh man. And she's like, you did it again. Did you make somebody cry? And I'm like, stop it. And she's like, you're the tear bringer. And I think there's a fear of being real, because I think when you do show true emotions, like it is a little bit like, are they going to call me baby? Or are they going to say you're lame? Or, it is such a weird thing, Britt, that for me, I am very excited that I think the show went well, and my act was very, very good. Um, and it is fun to hear that. But then if the compliments get too real, literally start getting like, okay, this is weird. Then like I'm like, oh, I'm not that funny. My wife's the funny one, right? Like, or I stole that joke, or let me make a different joke. But I think it's just being afraid. What if the real authentic me, what if they don't like me?
Yep. Yep.
And to be honest, I'm not trying to be super arrogant. I think I'm pretty good with the delivery. I know how to time it, and I know how to tell a story. But I think a lot of why I waited a long time was, what if I do bomb? What if nobody laughs? And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know that wasn't going to happen to me, because right, like, but what if? And then you do get scared. Like, I don't know how I would deal with that.
Yep.
So
Yep. I was just talking about this with David Comstock in his interview, and how everyone's greatest desire, he says, is to be known, seen, and loved. But then also, our biggest fear is to be seen, and that once people see who we really are, we won't be lovable anymore. And that's been a big thing that has been coming up in things that I have started sharing, stories that I've kept inside for 20 years, because I didn't know that that is what I was fearing. And after I've been sharing those things and realizing that people aren't running for the hills, it's been giving me a little bit more courage to just keep being myself. But you are not alone. I think it's a universal thing that we all feel. And then as soon as we let that part be seen and we are accepted, it's crazy.
Amazing.
It's
Yeah. And it's a little scary too.
yeah.
There's a scary part of that too. Like, oh, that you actually do like me. Now what do I do?
Yeah, I know. It's just wild that
Yeah.
that being vulnerable and being real is such a scary thing that we all feel. We're all afraid of each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And
But we all
then,
need each other.
yeah. First off, now I'm really regretting that we had to delay this a couple times because, like, I wish I could have gone first, and then David wouldn't look so smart. Like, oh, like, because then he'd be like, "Oh, Mike Betts was just saying this," and I could be the smart one instead of David's the smart one again.
Yep. But I really appreciate you sharing that too. I do not like making people uncomfortable either. Maybe I'm a 7 as well.
And if you
I
like
will
making people laugh,
text
like
people.
7s are the life of the party. Like they are. So you
Mhm.
could for sure be a 7.
Oh, yeah, I thrive. Whenever someone tells me that something did make them laugh, it's the
Yeah.
best thing ever. But I do not want to see someone, look sad. I mean, I've had really big, important things to share with people in my life, and I have sent it via text because I don't want to see the look on their face, and I don't want to make them sad on my behalf.
I started feeling bad for. Told you we had 5 offers for house. I started feeling bad for the people that did not get health. I started being like, oh man, like they really want it. And um, one person had a thing like one of those love letters in there, but they were talking about how we had this little. I'm even going to show you. See this little bonus room, and it used to be because we had a big family, right? So after the accident, we had the 2 kids. We ended up having another one, our Gemma, and took a while because I'd already had things taken care of and had to get reattached. And so it was a whole ordeal to have a Gemma. And so we had 2 kids in the other 2 bedrooms, and we didn't want to send anyone in the basement. So this little bonus room becomes a little nursery. And then later on, like it evolves. But our oldest, Aspen, she painted this tree in there and it's really pretty. And I guess a young girl really liked it and was telling parents like, "Oh, this would be great because then I could have my veterinary office in here with the tree." And I was like,
Oh,
"Oh my God, what an idiot. This is not even zoned for a veterinarian office. I mean, I'm not taking my pet to your office." No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I thought that was very, very sweet. But see, I even have to make a joke about it because I don't want to feel bad for that girl that, like, now listen, they're going to find a great house, but I don't want to make people have to be sad. And my wife was more like, well, fuck them. They can give us 20,000 more and then they won't be sad. It's for sure not what she said. It's for sure.
oh, yeah. Okay. While she's vacuuming the ceiling,
Right,
she's
right.
saying that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to go back again to the funny things that your wife says. Remind me her name.
Yeah. Debbie.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Give us a couple recent or all-time best one-liners that she's told you because she's full of them.
And she is. And sometimes at dinner, we do highs and lows with the kids and stuff. And I said, my high is that it was a pretty good team meeting that I held. And I'm like, I was really, really funny in it. And my wife's like, you're not funny. I'm like, I am very funny. You should have been at the meeting. She's like, they report to you. They feel like they have to laugh. And you know, if you were actually funny, you wouldn't have to say you're funny.
Jeez.
I don't know how to come back to that because if you think about it, no, I am funny. Like, no, I really am good looking. No, like I really am a hard worker, right? If you're having to say, no, I really am funny, then you probably are not funny. I think the other one that she said one time, she's like, man, I used to think you're funny, but I've been with you now for long enough. You really only have like 10 to 12 jokes. That's it. And that's all I ever hear.
I'm
So,
I'm trying to laugh quietly over here, and it's killing me because a lot of times if it's too loud on my end, then it'll drown out the other person. But
yeah.
man, you're making me laugh.
Yeah.
I think you're funny. So how did you two meet?
So, very funny story. So, the older kids are not hers. That's from a previous marriage. And she was connected through my sister through a softball team. And so, when my sister, they had a housewarming party, and I don't remember meeting her there, but this was shortly after I got separated. And it was the weekend that I had the kids, and I went to my sister's party for their new house. And she said she remembers being there. So, I mean, I was late 20s at the time, and she was like, um, 24, something like that. So she's young. And then she's like, oh, so she's there with some friends. She's like, who are these little ones hanging around? Right. So for a lot of people, when you're in your early 20s, you're not hanging out where there's a bunch of kids at there. So it's different if there's little kids running around. She's like, who are those kids? And then it was one of those things like, oh, that is a brother. And ooh, they're separate. Like, so it was a little big thing. And she remembers saying to someone like, oh, that poor guy, he's never going to get with somebody having kids. And that was almost like a big, like, God's like, oh, really? Hold my beer. Let's see what happens. And it turned out my sister used to put on a pub crawl where it was a 3-legged race, and you would have to try to hit so many things, and you would just share a beer or a drink at each one. Like you had to, as a couple, get done. And I didn't have a date for it, and she didn't have a date. And so we got set up. And then later on, we went and we had a couple dates, and it worked out pretty good.
It all started with a three-legged race.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. So in fact, I think when my sister said, hey, I have someone that you can go with and we'll just pair together. And it was just fun. Like, it wasn't like, ooh, maybe, like, it was just more like, okay, yeah, great. I'll have a partner. This is a fun event. And she's like, oh yeah, my brother needs somebody. And it was funny because we had done the pub crawl the year before. So this was the second one. And she's like, oh, she actually didn't know if it, because my younger brother was really bad at it, and she's like, "Was it the one who finished last, or is it the divorced guy?" So she didn't even know which brother she was gonna be.
It's just amazing how things work out. Has
Yeah.
what else what else in your life has worked out in a weird way? Is there another big thing? Are you from Colorado?
So I was born in Michigan, but was only
Okay.
there a couple years in Maryland. So I've been here since I was 5. So a lot of people will be like, "Oh, you're basically a native." And my wife, who is a native, seriously, I imagine she's at work right now and she's shaking her head at me like, "Nope, you're not a native." Like, so when people say that, true natives are like, "Nope, that doesn't count. Nope, nope." Um, I will say this, like, having gone through a tragedy, one of the things that's nice is we, like any couple, it's not always just like, oh, we're always getting along so great all the time. We've had down moments. I do think that um, we've been good at when one of us, and especially early on when there was a lot of grief and going through that grief journey, we knew the statistics for couples that have lost children. I mean, it's not good. That is not a good
Really?
wrench to throw in there. Like, the divorce rate is higher because it's a lot. And I think we've been lucky, but I don't want to just say, well, yeah, randomly we've been lucky. We've worked hard at it. And there are times when I know she might be really struggling with some things, and I got to suck it up and try to be strong, and vice versa. And
Hmm.
so it has taken some luck that sometimes I'm the one that's like, okay, I got us. And other times she's got to vacuum the ceiling. So, like, um,
Yeah, I mean, the marriage thing, it's teamwork for sure. And very rarely are both people really on the same page with where they are energetically and spiritually and
Right.
physically. And so it's really good, to have someone to lift you up. And I'm curious, I didn't expect this to go in this direction, but what else has helped you guys? Is there something you've learned with communicating or
Yeah, I mean, with communication, just trying to like be respectful of the way that a person naturally communicates or shows this, right? Like with like love language is that kind of thing. But just knowing like if my wife's getting frustrated with me, these are things I've got to do better at. Or knowing that if we start an argument or I see my wife sometimes do those things, she's like, okay, I want to deal with this right now, but I know I probably need to bring it up later. And later I'll be very appreciative because she'll say, hey, so, the other day when obviously I was doing something wrong, like when you were doing blank wrong, um, like I feel like she's got a card that says, husband, when you were doing blank wrong, this is the way you're supposed to do blank. In the future, if you need help, I can help you, right? But it is very nice when it is brought up in that way. And then I'll be like, yes, I definitely can do that. And even over time, like,
Mhm.
I think early on, I would be like, I'm a words of affirmation person. And, or as my wife says, is, oh, you need your little gold star. Like, so that's me. And like, she's an acts of service person. And so early on, it wouldn't help when I'd be like, oh my gosh, you look so great today. Or wow, that looks awesome. She's like, no, I want you to maybe dig in and help me or volunteer to be like, hey, I'll go do this for you. And at some point,
Mhm.
I will actually do some of that. So,
Yeah, it's just learning to adapt and learning
yep.
where this other person's coming from and really paying attention to what they need.
Yeah.
And yes, I understand that because I'm words of affirmation and David's acts of service, and so there's been a lot
Yeah.
of meeting in the middle, and and I think what's important, what we've learned is finding a time that you both know that you're going to be talking about it, or like you were saying, bring it up later when you've both had time to process things.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the magic of Not Till Now, right?
Yeah.
Is my hidden agenda is to get people in a room and in a context where they are prepared to hear all kinds of things and see
Yeah.
people from different walks of life and be in a space where they can fully see someone. And maybe before that, they would maybe look at someone in a different way or have a different feeling about a certain thing, but they're walking into a situation where they know they're going to see people be courageous and they know that things might go wrong. Nothing went wrong on that last show. I'm still mad about
No.
that. And so there's a parallel there where the pastor who married us encouraged us to do marriage business meetings every Sunday night or just, once a week,
Right.
so that we both know that if something is going to be brought up, it's going to be brought up in that time frame. And we ebb and flow with those things, but
Yeah.
it's important to not catch someone off guard and to not be in the heat of the moment with
Right.
things.
Yeah, I
So,
agree. And a crazy thing, and I know this is a little off topic, but I have so many memories now of just that night, and it is not just my act. And I can guarantee you, everybody felt so good for everybody else. Like it was cool coming together in that way. And our acts didn't have anything to do with one another. But that night, it was just so fun watching everybody. And then I forget who had the sparkly dress. Like we were like, oh my gosh, because we hadn't seen it, and we were back in the green room. I just wanted to say I
yeah,
was back in the
Natalie.
green room. I just wanted to say that. But like
Yeah.
also everybody, when I think you dropped an F bomb, and then everybody was like, "Ooh, okay, cool." Like now, like we just knew where the boundaries were because I think not everybody necessarily had one, but there was enough people that were like, "How do I need to be a little bit cleaner or whatnot?" And I think if you wanted some feedback, like yeah, definitely that will actually set it where they'll feel good. Even if you say it, doing it made everybody be like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, cool. Like, I mean, nobody was going to just be dropping tons of them, but sometimes it's important for some of the stories and everything.
Oh, yeah, for sure. To just know that it is the safest place on the planet
Yeah.
to be yourself and just let it be. And
Yeah.
so now I'm back in the night and I want to know,
Yeah.
what else have you taken away from it?
I think it's one of those things where in the moment you don't think about this, but later you think about, like, I go back to my person before when I had the inkling, like, oh, it might be fun to get up and do stand up. And it is a big deal what I did. Like, and then and that night it feels like, because you have a rehearsal and we work on it and we pass the jokes back and forth and stuff like that. And yes, the night does feel big. I don't want to discount that you don't feel it like that, but it's like, it's kind of good to get a couple months out and then look back and be like, that is a big deal. And if I end up, with my career, if I end up looking at roles that are a little bit different, I already know I'm going to use this as an example to be like, look, I'm not afraid of trying new things, not afraid of doing something big, right? Because
Right.
it's big. This isn't just, oh, like my wife, it wouldn't be, maybe this would be a big deal for her to actually pump her own gas for once. But hey, but it's not a little thing like that. It is something that spurs me on, like, hey, I already have a cool interview question answer ready to go. And I think from the outside, especially if you're interviewing someone, like, yeah, I got up on stage in front of 300 people, told some jokes, and I had an 8-minute set, 8 minutes of jokes,
Mhm.
2 minutes of sad. And yeah, I went up and I did that. Right. So,
You did that. Yeah,
yeah.
I've never seen that happen, and I've never and before it happened, you're like, how would someone pull that off? And you did.
Yeah.
You did it.
Right.
You
Yeah.
totally did it. And you had
And
50 people there for you,
I know
cheering
I
you
did have a
on.
big crush.
Incredible.
Yeah. They butchered them. So when I do karaoke, and I started this very early on, I was like, oh my God, if I go, I should put a funny name, Monster Mike. So I did that like 25 years ago. I put my name in as Monster Mike. Then when I was like, oh, if I go up again, I had the group of my tables start going, Monster Mike, and clapping. And because I know if you do karaoke, you want to be able to carry a tune a little bit, but it is all about song choice, right? And do you have the audience doing it? Sometimes, like, the very best singers will sound so good, it sounds like it's just background music, whereas you want it to be fun and exciting. And so to drum up that, I have people chant that. So some of the people didn't know how the chant went. Some of the people like, oh, and then like trying to get it coordinated. But that's what I was hoping for, is that people would start chanting that. And then maybe
Yeah.
some of the other people in the crowd. That was a freaking disaster. They were awful. And I did reprimand them after that. That was, I mean, that could have been a lot better. So
Okay, so something did go wrong that night.
there you
Okay.
go.
There we
There you
go.
go. Yeah, that was actually
Something,
terrible. And any of those people that listen, you should actually be ashamed of yourself. I'm not mad for calling you out.
but you did hear Magic Mike, or that was
Yeah.
just part of your joke, right?
Well, it's funny when people have butchered it and then people have been like, Magic Mike. I'm like, listen, I get it. Looking at me, like, you'd think him and Shannon Tatum are twins, right? But yes, I'm like, oh, that's an easy joke on there. I one
Oh,
time,
yeah.
a guy I guess he couldn't read it, and they called me up on the karaoke stage as Monsignor Mike,
Oh,
which is also not bad either. Like, oh, bonjour,
no,
bonjour,
I like it.
Jean
You
Valjean.
can wear all
Yeah,
kinds of hats.
that's right.
Well, this has been awesome, and I wish we could just talk all day, but
Yeah.
I gotta go get my little man from the bus stop. But I want to know real
Yes.
quick. So your golf tournament is coming up in June. Do you still have spots?
Yes, we do still have some spots. And thank you, Britt. We
Okay.
know that you are sponsoring, and that's awesome.
Yay!
But yeah, we don't have a ton of spot. Like, I think we can get close to 200 or even a little bit more on our golfers. And I know we're at about 160-ish. If you're interested, it is like a super fun tournament. It's a scramble. So if you're like, oh, I'm not that great, it's fine, right? Get a group of people. And I think you have to use everybody's drive like one time. It's a very fun day and it's a great cause. And I guarantee you, you just will have a blast. So you can check that out at Betts Legacy, like my last name, BETTS Legacy.org, all one word. It is Monday, June 15th. Also, seriously sponsor it, because as a sponsor, we do a little sponsor appreciation little event the day before, so you could then get invited to that. So Britt, you'll look forward to
cool.
getting your little invite to the sponsor appreciation event.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
no, I'm
basically
super
a
pumped.
thank you, and it's some drinks, and we'll probably cater in something like some food, but it's just a nice time. And then you can meet all the other sponsors.
Yeah.
And then talk about
Is
how
there a
you're doing
silent
good for the
auction?
world. There is a
Oh,
silent
sorry.
auction. There's a lot of cool stuff. I think there is actually a couple of really cool packages that are probably going to be live auctioned. Even if you're a person, you're like, "Oh, I don't know, I can bid for that." It's fun to watch a live auction. And word of the wise, one year I was like, I'm going to bid this up a little bit. And it was like $1,000 for date nights for a year. It had a bunch of things with it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll like somebody bid. And I'm like, I'll bid it up. And I'm like, I'm just going to do it once. And I got date nights for a year. So it's like the gambling thing that they say, only do what you can afford. Otherwise, your wife will get mad at you. But at least if you have date nights for a year,
There you go.
it helps out a little bit. I prepaid him.
Well, that's
dear.
awesome. And and then are you still looking for donations for the silent auction?
Yes, absolutely. So if you're affiliated with the company, or if you have services, or if you're like, I have this great autographed framed jersey of Nikola Jokic that I just need someone to take off my hands. Like, absolutely, we will take that for sure.
Perfect. Okay. And I'll put more information in the show notes for everyone, and the link to the tournament and everything. So, and a link to your performance as well.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for making the time during this crazy transition time. And I'm so glad that it worked out. And thank you so much for sharing your heart and answering my really deep questions today, and being you, and for everything that you do in the community. You're making an impact in ways that you don't even know. So
yeah. Well,
thank you.
Britt, I appreciate it. I'm grateful to be on the show. I was grateful to be part of Not Till Now. So I consider you a blessing, and this was really fun. I've been looking forward to this for a little while, even though we had to massage schedules to make it work. I've been like, oh, I'm going to be on a podcast. I've hit the big time.
I know. Well, thank you again, and can't wait to see you in June.
There we go. Sounds good. Thanks, Britt. Appreciate you.
Thanks. Appreciate you.
Right.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Not Till Now. I hope this conversation stirred something in you. Don't forget to check the show notes for a recap and ways to stay connected. And if you know someone in your life who needs permission, send this to them. See you next time.